Hey, hi, how are you? My name's Felton. Welcome back to Match the Gathering. Today we are looking at a very unoriginal but very good deck. The blue-white control Mindsplice Apparatus deck. For those of you who don't know, Mindsplice Apparatus is a brand new card from Phyrexia All Bo1. It is an artifact that has flash. And at the beginning of your upkeep, put an oil counter on Mindsplice Apparatus. Instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each oil counter on Mindsplice Apparatus. You might notice we have a handful of cards that have X in their cost. If Mindsplice Apparatus gets off the ground and is allowed to get up more than like 2 or 3 counters, all of a sudden you're syncopating for just the 1 blue. You're able to cast White Sun's Twilight for maybe 3 mana. You're able to Silver Scrutiny and draw 12. It really synergizes really well with a lot of stuff we have, and we have ways to synergize with it as well. We have something like the Monumental Facade in the mana base, which normally taps for colorless. However, we can also tap it to remove an oil counter from it and put an oil counter on target artifact. We also have a little bit of proliferate action in the deck with Experimental Augury. You might notice, like a lot of blue-white controls deck, this deck doesn't really look to have a win con. It's like, okay, well, you wipe the board, you wipe the board, you wipe the board, you sometimes steal their stuff, you counterspell them, how do you win? Mirrex. Mirrex allows you to consistently make a bunch of tiny little mites. Little 1/1s that can't block, but they apply Toxic when they hit your opponent. So the win con is more or less poison. Now I'm going to say it is really more or less because that won't always be how you win. Sometimes it'll be through combat damage. Eternal Wanderer and Wandering Emperor can provide lots of value in that department. But it's typically through White Sun's Twilight as a big board wipe later in the game, making a ton of Phyrexian mites, and then just swinging in, applying a bunch of poison, and maybe proliferating it out with an Experimental Augury. Maybe using Mirrex to make a couple of more mites to really get those last little points of poison in. But overall, this is just a control deck that wins through poison, just in a different way than other control decks. I also really like this because it actually makes great use of a handful of new cards from Phyrexia All Bo1, including Blue Sun's Twilight, White Sun's Twilight, Eternal Wanderer, Experimental Augury, and Mindsplice Apparatus. Having a lot of fun playing these decks that use new things in them. They're a lot of fun for me, I really enjoy them, and I hope you enjoy this gameplay. If you like the video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all that stuff, and let's hop right into it. Alright, this hand's kind of trash, I'm not going to lie. It's only good if we're playing into an aggro deck, but there's a lot of aggro decks right now, so do we keep it as if we're playing into an aggro deck, or we do something else? Also, I'm going to apologize ahead of time if the gameplay's a little janky in this video. I'm doing like a mass recording uploads thing at the moment. I like this hand a lot more. Probably drop Eternal Wanderer. Double Mirrex is pretty bad, but we can play Deserted Beach tapped to guaranteed have white mana for March. There we go. Yeah, if the gameplay looks a little janky, it's because I'm just like currently uploading. Interesting. I'm currently uploading videos and recording simultaneously because I have trying to get a backlog going, because in this upcoming week I'm going to be playing a lot of Destiny. Not like this next week. Do 3. I think I'll get rid of one of these and I can kill it, right? Good job, March. Doing great, buddy. But yeah, because of that, it's not this upcoming week when this video comes out. This might already be done, to be fair. I think we just draw with Third Path. We want to exile this. Listen, ignore the fact that I have the fancy new Phyrexia land since the last time I recorded. Really interesting deck for my opponent. It's the I don't want to have mana deck, I guess. I want to exile this, by the way, not kill it. Because it can come back eventually.
This is what you get.
We will do this, though. Grab another Mirrex, because later on in this game, we might actually be able to use those Mirrexes. Holding up Syncopate, just in case my opponent is still land screwed. They are a little bit. That's a decision. Oh, they just barely got enough, right? That was their third counter. I am, for one, am shocked. I would appreciate actually drawing something usable here, game. We'll see, though. We might be able to just start making little tokens. I didn't realize that this was their third counter on the Scrap Gorger. I was confused. I thought they only had 2. Counting is hard. I'm not going gonna lie, I feel like the Scrapped Gorger is like a painfully overstated creature. It's a 2-drop mana dork that grows into a 3/3 that also exiles your opponent's library. I feel like it's just like wildly overstated as a creature. Sorry, exiles your opponent's graveyard. I don't know, it just seems wildly overstated. Also, is my opponent playing just like Bant Brokers, kinda? We might exile this here so they stop gaining life and such. But we'll see what they play as to whether or not I want to. This just says return to the battlefield, which does mean it's not cast. Okay, just go ahead and exile that. Exile that. I should have clicked for 2. I had the mana for it. That was my fault entirely. I should have clicked X equals 2. I had the mana for that. Yeah, can I do X equals 5? Sure can. Say hello to my might army. I want to point out, I've played a lot of games with this deck so far. Not a single game has actually given me Mindsplice Apparatus yet. I run 4 copies in this deck. Interesting. They play by invitation only. That just doesn't seem to be a great thing? I don't know. We're just going to make a bunch of mites again. We have nothing else to play. We'll make a bunch of mites. Make a samurai token.
May your blade strike.
My opponent's playing a very interesting deck. Depopulate? Sure, yeah. Why not? Go ahead and make a mite. Hold up our experimental augury here. So we'll be able to proliferate. Do we make another one? Okay, they made a thing. We make another one.
Need to take action.
Especially now we do this. Both mites go kill Teferi. Yeah, they're just playing like a Bant counters, Bant control-y deck nonsense thing, I guess. I think we do this on our turn.
Running out of time.
Finally! Oh my goodness. And I'm just gonna proliferate everything. Yeah, we need to be very careful around our Mindsplice Apparatus right now, though, because it could easily get removed here. Doesn't look like they have much anything going on for them at the moment. I could be wrong. This could be like a depop here. Again. Faithbound Judge. Alright, Mindsplice did resolve. Syncopate's really good here. Proliferate everything. This is a 4/4 and a 4/4. May as well make a samurai token that can block.
Guards, to me.
May as well swing with both of them. There's no reason not to. They want to get it back, sure, but like, they have to play it. Fun fact, Syncopate, that kind of counters stuff. Especially when we can play it for slightly more due to Mindsplice Apparatus. Goodbye, Wandering Emperor. Nice knowing you. Go ahead and make another Might token. Let's just make a ton of Mites and try and force another board wipe out of them. Oh, they're scared. They're scared. Did you see that? They blocked. Nah, they're just depopulate. Okay. I take it back. They're not scared. I guess that's like a Faithbound Judge synergy. Monumental Facade's really nice. Make a thing. Let's make them have the other depop. I'm just doing all of this main phase because we have nothing else to do. There's no reason to not just main phase all that crap when I have nothing else to do. Yeah, their game plan is clearly win via Faithbound Judge, it seems. Mightstone and Weakstone. I feel like you need to draw 2 cards off that. Okay, yeah. Okay, Experimental Augury is really nice here. White Sun's Twilight is pretty good.
We must protect the people.
I don't know what they're doing. If they have another board wipe, I just make 2 mites on instep, right? So, like, here's the thing. They need to kill both my mites, but I make more mites on instep. Nissa, huh? Spicy. Spicy! I like it. They have 2 open mana, though, and I... Okay, well, now I just win, because I make 2 more mites. Yeah, okay. GG's opponent, really well played. I'm actually a big fan of your deck. That seems really cool, but the Mindsplice got off the ground and I was allowed to use my Mirexes to great value, and man, I really like your deck though, opponent. I actually really like that a lot. By invitation only, little weird, but there is a lot of protection going around right now, and it avoids targeting stuff like Grot Priests, so I do kind of like it. Faithbound's a cool win con, because technically speaking, I think Broker's Ascendancy works. No, it doesn't. It does not. Okay, I had to clarify this. I wanted to finish the match first before I worried about it, but I wanted to clarify. This does not work with Faithbound Judge, or sorry, Sinner's Judgment, I suppose, because technically it is not a creature or a planeswalker, which is all that Broker's Ascendancy does. It puts +1/+1 counters on creatures and a loyalty counter on planeswalkers. Really cool deck though. Bant control, kinda. I'm a big fan. GG's, opponent. Opponent goes first. Man, what I'd give to be able to be on the play as a control deck. I do like this hand a lot, though. I like... Syncopate's bad on the play, but, like, it's not that bad on the play. That bodes well for me. They're probably playing, like, a fight rigging deck. God, I love these lands. I say probably running, like, a fight rigging deck, and I'm still feeling like I'm pretty much correct here. Because here comes the fight rigging. A dig up? Huh? I'm very confused by that. Yeah, they didn't have all of their black mana to play their Phyrexian Obliterator. That's what that was gonna be. It was gonna be a Phyrexian Obliterator. But they didn't have the right color mana. I guess we grab the Twilight. But you can't win them all. This is such a weird thing. I get why they do it for the oil counter, right? Like, the oil counter makes sense, but that's something I've noticed a lot in decks that aren't playing control. There's a lot of... Oh, it's just a shield shred? Okay, well, it's not exactly exciting. A lot of decks that aren't playing control decks will just, like, exile their opponent's entire library, or, like, entire graveyard, even if it doesn't seem like the opponent is the type of deck that'll do that. I think no matter what happens, we flash in Mindsplice Apparatus because we can flash in Wandering Emperor as, like, a response on our... Or we can, like... If they play, like... There's a lot of stuff that they could play where Mindsplice is the answer, essentially. Maybe... Do you think they have a cut... Not a cut down. They probably do. I can't remember the name of the card. Terra Sunder? I think so. I can't imagine that they wouldn't run Terra Sunder as removal in green-black, right? Here it comes! Here's the Terra Sunder, because they're very original and cool. There it is. Called it. They clearly have something else. We might Wandering Emperor in response this time, just to avoid losing so much life. Yeah, that's totally a fight rigging deck, though. I can't imagine Golgari is playing anything else nowadays. We'll find out, though. I think we try and kill it just to get out more removal from them. People that don't play control decks quite often just, like, do literally everything in their power to make it so their opponent doesn't have any resources.
But I'm going to end it.
Here comes the removal spell.
Our
See?
swords will cross again.
They'll do stuff like that a lot, which... It's not a bad decision, don't get me wrong, but it seems excessive. That Wandering Emperor isn't doing anything, right? Like, it's really not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Run, draw. Decent draws. I can just play this for extra 5 now. Gain a bunch of life. Board wipe, make a bunch of tokens. You don't need the Mindsplice Apparatus to do this play. To play like this. It works really well even without it. Phyrexian Obliterator. Here's the fight spell, but I have a bunch of tokens, so who cares? I can literally just sack all my tokens and then a single land, right? Oh wait, actually I only need to sacrifice one permanent. I only did 1 damage. Do you not know how your Phyrexian Obliterator works? It's how much damage I deal to you. These aren't, like, very good for that. Sacrificed 1 whole permanent. Wow. What is that, a 4-drop? It would be a shame if you couldn't get that back, huh? I mean, I lost most of my mites, but... we're rolling! Yeah, I was totally right about this being... they have 2 open mana, so I need to do X equals 3, which I cannot do. But I can just kill it. Much better play. They get a free card draw off it, but we'll be able to syncopate for a higher mana value on this upcoming turn, which will probably be nicer. Blue Sun's Twilight, you shouldn't have. Do we think they got their 3rd Obliterator? Oh my god, we're gonna steal their Glissa. I'll probably just do it for X equals 3, honestly. I don't really want to make a copy of Glissa, I just want to steal it. I just kind of want to steal their Glissa. Cute. Got another spell in there? No, we draw cards. We try and kill their Glissa. We kill their Glissa, easy enough. I find it funny that this deck has worked, like, in spite. This deck seemingly has worked, like, in spite of me playing, whatchamacallit? I can't think of the word right now. This deck seems like it's working in spite of me trying to play Mindsplice Apparatus instead of because of it. But I think it's because people know how good it is. You're not allowed to dig up anything, buddy. Please try again next time. Draw a card. We're going to do it like this because this basically just presents lethal. I could have probably done more, actually. I think that would have been smart. Okay, well, that's game anyways. I think smart would have been to tap out for it, but... oh, well, we hit lethal. It's fine. This deck seems really powerful. It's like, it's the blue-white control deck, but it got a win con that isn't Urza. Urza was always a little slow of a win con, in my opinion. Loved him to death, but he's a little slower than just poisoning your opponent out. This deck, very good, very fun. Does seem to be in spite of the apparatus, not because of it, though. I think people have learned. Either way, on to the next. Man, I wonder what I gotta do to be able to be on the play with this deck. We have to mulligan that, though. Much more playable. Sorry, Eternal Wanderer, you're very slow. No reason not to play tapped land here. We don't have anything to play otherwise, anyways. Mono green aggro, mono green ramp. This could be like a fun little Nissa deck. Make sure we have our double blue. Probably just like mono green or Bant ramp. We don't want that around here. We play the Facade. We might Silver Scrutiny for 1 to just kind of cycle it out right now. Dama. We actually have to depop them. We can't let them get away with having both of those things on board. Rough for us, but it'll potentially work out. Wow. Man, my opponent just curved perfectly. Literally perfect curve out from my opponent. Holy cow, I am jealous. We might end up losing this matchup at this rate. We'll see, though. I think we will just slam Mindsplice. Red and 7's not the greatest thing for us, but it's not the end of the world. I think we slam Mindsplice here, and then maybe try and draw into something cool. What are they playing? Let me see. It's just... they're playing Silverback Elder. That's really bad for us. That just destroys our one true win con. As does this guy. You know what I just realized? We literally can't play this, but let's make them sack. Let's make them. Yeah, I get it. You played your land late. Can I go now? Thank you. Let's make them sack their Frenzy Trap Breaker. We both know that they want to. Oh, they're gonna give me a land? Never mind. That's fine. We could potentially still draw something playable here. Alright, let's do this. Nah, I think we lose here, but just barely. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 open mana. I can't play this at all. That's 11 damage coming in now. We have to play this in response to make sure we don't die. Gain 3 life. Live a little longer. I don't think we win here, though. I think we're just kind of doomed because my opponent literally curved perfectly. Like, they just curved straight into Storm the Festival. Just straight into it. There's nothing I could do about that. That's really rough. This game will probably get included just to show off that you still lose a lot with this deck. Oh, well, you don't lose a lot, actually, to be fair. I think this was my first major loss where I was still in the game. But sometimes, if your opponent just gets, like, a perfect ramp-out draw, they're just gonna beat you. They're just gonna win. I don't know what my opponent's doing. Ah, they're killing me. Got it. Yeah, they just win. Look at that. Literally perfectly lethal. They didn't even have to get perfect, by the way. They could have just tapped out everything. Maybe they're just scared I had a counterspell. Yeah, no, that's what happens when aggro perfectly curves on you. Nothing you can do. On to the next. My word, am I really on the play with a keepable hand? Okay, keepable is aggressive. We have some plays. The syncopates and marches are decent here. Why am I surprised that it's into mono red? You play a lot of aggro with this deck, it seems. Oh, it's actually Gruul. I'll take it back. If you want to get value, you play a creature. Interesting. Alright, we do syncopate that, though, just to not take a bunch of damage. Ooh, game. You're going easy on me, buddy. That's just a 1-drop, right? Okay, yeah. We could technically exile, like, White Sun's Twilight to make sure we can play March here. I don't want them to be able to destroy artifacts and enchantments, so we're just going to do that. I'm really confused as to why the Kumano in what seems to be, like, wolves base. Maybe we can get our land? We're doing this because we really want to hit our land drop. Ah, thank you, game. We really wanted to hit our land drop. Arlen's not great.
I will not let my pack fall prey to prey. Gather my children.
We might just lose here. Let's see, do we get a land? We do get a land. That's really... We'll just play the apparatus here. We don't want it to flip day-night. Man, I guess this is what happens when you're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we draw a land... If we draw a land, I don't think we die here. If we don't draw a land... Okay, well, that's serviceable. That is serviceable.
We'll catch them by surprise.
Exxon Pup, not really the biggest deal. We see if they let us. They do let us. That's good for me. We let it go. Arlen will transform, but we have a Wandering Emperor. If they have protection, we lose. If they don't have protection, we don't lose.
I'm not overconfident. You're just underwhelming.
That was aggressive, Emperor. Jesus. They didn't have protection. We live another day.
I am almost sad to see you go.
We drew another Emperor. We're vibing.
I'll be back.
You might think that we should just play White Sun's Twilight to gain a bunch of life here. I'm not sure that's the play. I think the play might be just hold it in the back pocket until my opponent has another explosive turn. They're holding on to something, clearly. You know what, whatever. Okay, so I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hang on, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can do it for 5 and still have enough left over for an Emperor, right? Yeah. I just want to have enough left over for an Emperor in case they do play something crazy good here. I don't know what they could play, but they could play something crazy good here that would cause me all sorts of problems. What are they holding in their hand? They're all holding something that is holding priority, and it's very confusing. We make more mites so we can just start swinging like crazy. Oh, man. I'm having a tough time drawing what I need. Six poison counters. That's kind of scary. We let him swing. We have enough life now. We don't need to care anymore. Oh, they're just... Okay, bye! I really wish I knew what was in their hand. I feel like whatever was in their hand was, like, either really important or really not important. And either way, I just wish I knew. Either way, that was a close one. We got down to 3, I think? But GG, opponent. On to the next. My goodness, is it my birthday? We are on the play. Like this hand a lot. We have our blue that we need. We have a solid turn 3 play, and we have a solid turn 4 play. The Seachrome Coasts, I was tempted to let him go. This deck is more or less based off of... This pause brought to you by the fact that I think this is the 4th time we've played Mono Red. Oh well, can't win them all, right? Not all of these like quote unquote 4 made it into the video, by the way. That's why I'm like, not every interesting, but okay. My union is going to gain me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably. I think we played on their turn into a depopulate because they're probably going to start filling up their board state here. We played a lot of mono red with this deck. We play a lot of aggro with this deck, in my experience. Reckless Impulse, interesting. Sawblade Scamp, huh? Interesting inclusion. Seems like they're going like the really low to the ground one. Let's go ahead and gain 6 life back. I think we go ahead and depopulate them. I think that's the right play. Yeah, as I was saying, Seachrome Coast, it almost didn't make the cut. This deck is not entirely based off other people's deck lists, but it took inspiration from other people's deck lists, and Legend VD, if you don't know him, is a great content creator on the platform. He made a video about this deck. Why are they all running Itsushi lately? Who made a deck and included Itsushi? Whatever. If they commit to the board state more, we just go into a farewell. If they don't commit more, we just, we Otawara. They committed more. Draw gain. Ooh, hello, Eternal Wanderer. They're committing really hard to this board state, aren't they? Yeah, I think we hit the farewell. It gets rid of Itsushi too, so. We're not really losing life though, 18. But yeah, this version is like, it's an amalgamation. I think Sonio did one. I know Legend VD did one. And Legend VD cut the Seachrome Coasts out of his. I personally think they fit pretty well because it helps you really, really ramp out properly into aggro matchups. There's a reason I only run 2 of them. Creatures... I guess we hit graveyards. There's no reason not to. There's no reason not to hit graveyards there. They clearly have a burn spell in hand. That means I need to be careful with my Eternal Wanderer. Yeah, what we got here is... Oh god, that accent was terrible. I'm never doing that again. What we have here is essentially my opponent is an aggro deck that is playing into a control deck that has lots of gain in it, and so they're having a bad time.
We can win this together.
Eternal Wanderer is a really powerful planeswalker. I don't feel like I gave Eternal Wanderer enough credit in the pre-release stuff. Oh, bye. I guess my opponent saw enough, which is fair. We like board wiped him twice and slammed a planeswalker that was hard for them to deal with. I'm going to finish my thought, though. I think I didn't give an Eternal Wanderer enough hype in the pre-release. The +1 is a lot stronger than I gave it credit for. Not coming back until the end of your opponent's turn really adds up. The 2/2 Devil Striker is just a nice like bit of protection on the turn you play it if you're just trying to get a planeswalker out. And the -4, because you get to choose what your opponent keeps, is really, really nice. But yeah, GG's opponent, I guess we just kind of like... I guess to be fair, when you get depopped into a farewell back-to-back after your opponent loses maybe 5 life, it's kind of hard as aggro. But yeah, GG's on to the next. We are on the play. Last time we were on the play, we played a random Teferi deck. And that beat me up. I don't think that game's going to get included, though, so that comment might seem weird out of context. I don't think that game's getting included. It wasn't very exciting. It was really just my opponent was playing bad Esper. By bad Esper, I mean it was like not a meta deck version of Esper. And you might be like, but it doesn't need to be meta to be good. Yeah, but it was just kind of playing random Esper cards from New Capenna. What is my opponent playing? I'm so confused. Is this like the mono red Koth deck or like the... It's gotta be, right? It's gotta be like the mono red Koth deck. That's gotta be. I can't imagine this is anything else. I mean, we're playing control, so we're just gonna kind of vibe. I wish that had been a Wandering Emperor, not Eternal Wanderer, but you can't win them all. Koth? Koth on curve? Wish I had a counterspell. No syncopates for me. I think it's a Koth deck. They don't have any instant speed. That's good for me. I think I'll actually grab the Depop here. I think we let him have the Stomper then so we can flash in Apparatus and then use Depop for 3. Five damage doesn't really scare me. We're 6 above. They probably have an Abrade though. I guess this gets out the Abrade then, right? Here comes the Abrade. Yes, we both know you're going to Abrade it. Can you please let it resolve? Thank you. Yeah, they're playing that Koth deck, I think. That mono red control deck, which is cool. I'll give credit where credit's due. Oh, really? Are you not going to do anything about that? It's just going to get value? Alright, well, Depop. Thumbs up emoji. Here comes the Abrade? No. Opponent, you're confusing me to death.
Try to best me.
It's gotta be like burn spells, right? Because it's always when like something like this
Your eyes
resolves.
sharp.
I'm so confused. I'm just trying to figure out what they're playing by playing cards. Could I have played White Sun's Twilight? Probably, but they might be playing a Burn Down the House. Was it a Rending Flame this whole time? Weird. That was probably their only one, though, from the looks of it. Because they didn't kill the 2/2 Devil Striker. Are they a Devilish Valet deck? Weird if true. Strangle, sure. Was that a 3-drop? Are they going to play more creatures around it? Am I going to have to White Sun's Twilight on this next turn? I think I might anyways, just because it'll be pretty cheap through Apparatus. This is very confusing. Can I do like 7? I can actually do 9. Let's go for it. Let's make him play something. Let's gain a bunch of life, make a bunch of mites, make him have an answer. Because this is nearly lethal. We could have waited one more turn, but they could have possibly killed us with the Valet. They could have comboed off really hard. I don't know what they're playing. Brotherhood's End. Alright, well, we got something out of them. Ah, yes, a Cliff Stomper. Anyways. I think we just kill it with a March and try and hold up our Wandering Emperor for something else. They just don't... Yeah. Try and do something like this now.
You started this fight. May your blade strike true.
And we're going to try and drag them both out of Brotherhood's End range. With Syncopate in hand, we can probably just like take care of a bunch of stuff. Obliterating Bolt. What is that? 6 open mana? Sure would be a shame if you had to pay 7. Yeah, they're totally playing like the mono red control deck. We got a second one out of them. Honestly, that's fine. Do you have a third one? No, it's just a land. Okay, that's cool. Aha. We do this instead. Do you top deck and win, or do I top deck and win? Let's find out. Good game, opponent. I won. They played really well. Honestly, I want to know what their deck was. I think it was like the mono red control deck that runs like Koth, and like Visions of Phyrexia. I don't know why they played Devilish Valet though. This is usually used in combo decks, not in mono red control. But hey, they played really well. They had me on the run a little bit. I was running out of cards, which is kind of the downfall of a deck like this. Is when you run out of cards, you kind of run out of steam. We had the since Twilight off the top. We got the X equals 10. We have the lethal. GG's opponent. Well, that's the deck. Hopefully you saw some cool gameplay. Like I said, there was a couple of games I feel like I won in spite of Mindsplice Apparatus, not because of it. But overall, I think this deck's good. I think this deck is a nice little homey place if you really like playing blue-white control. It has enough life gain in it that you can like kind of survive your way through a lot of the aggro decks right now. And because you're not playing a ton of creatures, the Fight Club deck won't hit you. You do have to worry pretty hard about like the poison decks. But Bring the End. Bring the Ending is a card that you could like sideboard in and out if you're playing best of 3. Which we will just go ahead and throw in a copy of it into the sideboard to remind you that this card does exist and synergizes with the deck. When your win con is Poison, Bring the Ending, and other similar things such as... Hang on. There's a lot of cool Corrupted Synergy cards that can fit in a deck like this. Stuff like Distorted Curiosity also fits in this deck very well. As can the Seed Core... It's kind of excessive when you're trying to poison and not combat kill. And you're not really casting Phyrexian creatures anyways, but it is there if you want it. But yeah, Bring the Ending and Distorted Curiosity, which I'm going to stick one of each in the sideboard. This will be the updated deck list that goes into the Etherhub link in the description below. They'll be in the sideboard as just kind of a, you can run these if you'd rather run these over other cards. I still think Union of the Third Path is probably your best bet for your 3-drop slot. It's just so strong. Basically, especially if you're playing it on curve, you'll typically gain like 5 or 6 life, allowing you to just kind of play catch up to any of the aggro decks in the meta right now. Bring the Ending also fits really well on the 2-drop slot. I would probably drop maybe like an Experimental Augury or 2, or some Fateful Absences, or a couple of March of Otherworldly Lights for that though. Not any of the Twilights or Silver Scrutiny. I think those are very important to the deck's win cons. I wouldn't drop any. These 3 cards here, I wouldn't drop any of those. I would run at least 2, if not more. You could probably drop some Experimental Auguries and Fateful Absences or some Marches for some of these cards here. Overall, though, this version was the version that I settled on and had a lot of fun with. I think it's a great deck. I think it functions very well, and I highly recommend it. It is a very expensive deck wildcard-wise, though. I will warn you. Rare, 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 rare. Oh, sorry, this is Mythic Rare. That's rare, that's rare, that's rare. Common, rare. This is art from an old set. I believe it's an uncommon when it got reprinted, and then rare. Yeah, it's a pretty rare heavy set. The mana base is pretty expensive too, but it's still a great deck. If you're a blue-white control player, you probably have a lot of these cards already anyways, like the Unions, the Depops, the Wanderers, the Absences and Marches, the Syncopates. You probably have a lot of this anyways. The new cards right here and right here are solid additions to any blue-white control player's repertoire. So if you liked the video, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe and all that stuff. Tell tell me what your favorite card in the deck is down below or something to promote that algorithm usage, and I hope to catch you in the next one.